Shalom Shari Kodesh. On Kol Nidre this year, I asked a question. I asked everyone to raise their hand. I said, who in here was secretly happy that they didn't have to share a holiday meal because of COVID with their crazy aunt or uncle or niece or nephew that fights with them about politics and everything else over these last 2.5 years? And a couple of people raised their hand. I said, the next question, if you are that crazy aunt or uncle or niece or nephew, raise your hand. A little less raise their hand, but you get the point. I spoke about the movie Avalon, where a Jewish family is about to sit down for a Thanksgiving meal, and they're waiting. They're waiting for their Uncle Gabriel, who's late every year, and they begin to debate. Should we wait for him to cut the turkey or not? And every year they wait. But this year, in the movie, the kids were more antsy than usual, and the family said, okay, we're cutting the turkey without him. And as the family's eating, Uncle Gabriel comes in, and he says the famous words, "You cut the turkey without me." And then immediately he runs out, he storms out. And he says, that's it, I'm leaving, and I'm never coming again. And like that, the family is fractured. Now I want to take a step back. The fight is over turkey. But these fights over little things that we think are really big can lead us to take steps back and abandon our friends and our family. Civil discourse has always been a challenging issue. But I think we all know that things are getting more and more tense every year, every month, and more difficult. The question is, what can Judaism teach us about how we relate to each other, especially with difficult things, difficult issues? In this week's Parsha Truma, we read a commandment. Make 2 cherubim or kruvim of gold. Make them of hammered work at the 2 ends of the cover. Make 1 cherub at one end and the other cherub at the other end. Of 1 piece it shall cover, shall you make the cherubim at its 2 ends. And it says that the cherubim shall have their wings spread out above, kind of like this, shielding the cover with their wings. They shall confront each other, the faces of the cherubim being turned toward the cover. So here we see this really interesting piece of art that's going to be on the Aron Kodesh, the Holy Ark. They're 2 almost angelic figures. They're facing each other, face to face. Now the commentators noticed that there was a space that was in between the 2 cherubim. And the question they asked was, who's supposed to be in that space? Whose space was it? Is it the cherub on the left or the cherub on the right? And the rabbis conclude it's neither. That middle space is actually where God dwells. And I think it's a metaphor for us, that God can dwell in that space, in between each other, if we allow God to be there, if we act responsibly and morally. This Shabbat, we're going to learn how to cultivate that space for God and for each other with our scholar in residence, Rabbi Charles Klein. Rabbi Klein is a Rabbi Emeritus of the Merritt Jewish Center in Merritt, New York, where he served for 43 years. He's also an author, having written a book entitled How to Forgive When You Can't Forget, Healing Our Personal Relationships. He is now a speaker on this subject. He's going to teach on Friday night some Talmudic passages and a Talmudic approach to civil discourse called Can't We All Just Get Along? And then on Shabbat morning, we're going to have another learning session where he will speak and give the Devar Torah, and then also speak about agreeing to disagree, timeless lessons we can learn from our sages. I hope that you can join us for any or all of these opportunities. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom, and we look forward to seeing you soon.